Hey everybody, Alex here with the very first episode of Let's Be Frank, Season 2. So, we are here at the Easy Street Garage where we have Tony Alonso and his collection of Mustang Bullets. Tony?
How you doing, Alex? Nice to see you.
Good, nice to see you too.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You got a really cool collection here. Just real quick, can you tell us where we're at, the Easy Street Garage here?
Sure thing. Easy Street Garage is in Mason, Ohio. My friend Scott Pierce has started this little place, and Mason, Ohio is near Cincinnati, Ohio, which is in the southwestern part of the state of Ohio. Pretty close to the Ohio River, and right across the way is Kentucky.
Okay.
So for those of you unfamiliar with the Ohio geography, we're down in the bottom left corner.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tony.
You bet.
So looking behind us here, it looks like we got Dark Highland Green 19 Bullitt.
Yes.
And is this a 2003 or 04?
This is 2003.
Mach 1, right?
Mach 1 Mustang, yeah.
Okay, cool. And 2008 or 2009 Bullitt?
2009 Bullitt.
2009, okay, yep. And then what do we got hiding in the back there?
Hiding way in the back, we have a 2001 Bullitt. It is in the wrong color.
Yeah,
black.
It's not Dark Highland Green, is it?
It's not Dark Highland Green. Right.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we talk about your 19 here real quick, just being that we left off season 1 of Let's Be Frank and we were just starting to explore the 2019 model and looking into the ownership there. Yeah. So can you tell us when you got your 19? Did you order it?
Sure. I ordered the 2019 Bullitt in actually 2 orders. One order was done in March. It was at a dealer who wasn't sure if they were going to have the allocation to fulfill the order.
Oh, okay.
So I went to another dealer out of state in Michigan in June, placed an order there, and September the 2019 car came in, and yeah, it was certainly an enjoyable day, as you might imagine.
Right, and it's been almost a year now since we've had these out on the road. I mean, are they getting any more affordable at dealerships from what you've seen?
Not only are they getting a little more affordable, they're actually vehicles starting to pop up on the used market, believe it or not.
Are they already?
Believe it or not.
How can you own this car for 1 year or less and decide you don't want it anymore?
People...
that sounds ridiculous.
Car people are a funny breed sometimes.
I guess, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Why don't we get a closer look at the car here, huh?
Why don't we do that?
All right. So between the 3 different generations of the Bullitt Mustangs that you have, how does the 19 stack up in terms of how much you love it or enjoy it?
I will say that out of the box, the 6th generation Mustang itself was such a big progression from the 4th and the 5th generation cars. You know, primarily you had the suspension in the rear.
Oh yeah,
that was a big change for Mustang. Not
switching
unlike
to the live rear axle.
Yep, going from a live rear axle to an independent rear suspension setup. Not unlike Corvette, right? Going from front engine to mid engine.
Yep.
Although that's a bigger architecture change.
It is, yeah.
But you know, because of that, this car, from a performance standpoint, between the steering and the braking and the road feel, you know, is a big progression from those other cars. Also, what I would tell you is that even though this is a Bullitt Mustang, which is supposed to be a little more low-key, there are a couple of technology pieces that are part of this car's experience, the digital dash, the Bluetooth connectivity, infotainment stuff. And those are certainly modern touches, which if you're into that, you know, it really can elevate the car for you. If you're more of an old school, kind of like it a little more real, maybe you'd say, it might be a little too gadgety, too gimmicky. But I mean, as a whole, the car itself is quite impressive in the performance characteristics. The other thing is the sound.
From like
the exhaust.
Okay,
the exhaust. Every generation Mustang Bullitt has had some sort of exhaust tuning to give a noise, which throws you back to
the original
car in the movie of Bullitt. And this particular car's exhaust system, the active exhaust setup, you get all kinds of burbles and cracks and pops, and the note, the tone of it is really a little deeper and fits kind of fits the character of the car.
It does, right? It's not quite as, it's not the same kind of aggressive, I should say, as like the normal GT would be. It's got a little more baritone or something to it. I don't know how to describe it.
No, that's a great way to describe it.
It's definitely cool for sure.
So that all of that adds up to, you know, a heck of a Ford Mustang experience, but a heck of a Bullitt Mustang experience
And I suppose the extra tech that's in this one compared to the other two, like you were just talking about before, I suppose that's part of helping to what justifies the extra price boost from the standard GT.
I would think yes, that's going to be part of it, certainly, because they've packaged this car similarly to maybe what would have been a Mustang GT Premium with optional features, right? So so there's a little more content in it. It'll get priced accordingly. That being said, though, some people have done some comparisons and tried to say, let me option a Mustang GT Premium, and then let me compare it to the Bullitt, and at least at the base level, the Bullitt is just only maybe a few $100s more. So, you know, value-wise, you might say, hey, that's not too bad.
Right, exactly. Especially for the exclusivity of this model, which is what you're buying it for to begin with.
Yeah, part of it is
pretty much, you know. So, have you taken this to like any events, or how often do you drive it? Do you go on cruises, anything like that?
My cruising in this car has been a lot around town, but I have taken it to various places. Primarily, it's gone up to Michigan and the Detroit area. And
for Woodward,
for the Woodward Dream Cruise, type of activity. And then I have also taken this and done some local cruises and things like that. So I'm not a hardcore high performance driving experience person or drag strip person, but I really just like to be in it and drive and get that feeling that you get when you know you're in something that's announcing a bit of cool, not over the top cool, but you know, something
not flashy or anything. I love the understated approach to these cars. Are just super cool. All right, so what do you say we go take a look at one of the other generations we got here?
Let's do that.
All right, let's take a look at your '09.
I bought this car with not the intent to make it a super duper low mileage, super clean garage queen, but rather something I could drive around and enjoy.
And when did you buy it?
So I bought this in the summer of 2016. So,
So I've had it relatively new.
Yeah, it's relatively new for me. But it's definitely for its mileage, I think in pretty reasonable condition, and certainly it doesn't look like it's lived a super duper horrific rough life. Visually, I think.
Looks great.
I'm pleased with it, and glad to be its owner.
Great condition for 11 years old, I'd say. And how many miles are on it?
So this car came with 87,600 miles or
Okay.
thereabout. In the time I've had it, we're up around 93,000 miles
Okay,
now.
so not even 100 yet.
Not 100,000 yet.
Cool.
So
Okay.
got a ways to go. A little bit of ways to
Yeah,
go.
great. I mean, these are personally still my favorite. I mean, and I've said it before. I mean, even with the 19 out and how awesome that is, and all the tech and extra, great just mechanics of that car, I still look at this one and just, oh man, it really to me captures more of the essence of the original car.
I'd say that's a fairly popular and consistent opinion among people who are looking at the Bullitt Mustang. A lot of people I know who have gravitated toward this car have said exactly what you have said, which is, man, this really kind of captures, it's the closest in spirit stylistically back. When Ford released the 2005 Mustang, they definitely took a grand look back at their first generation heritage.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And so even early on, there were some people speculating, would Ford make a Bullitt in this body style?
Right. And there was even, I remember a TV ad from Ford that had Steve McQueen in one of the S129 Mustang GTs. In that cornfield. That was such a cool.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. They hired
commercial.
an actor and who looked similar to him, but they digitally altered him.
I was wondering how they did that.
Yes, his face was that's one of the first real uses of that kind of film technology, right? To really make it look like Steve McQueen, guy doing the physical performance.
Right.
And yes, they were in that grand heritage-looking 2005 Mustang in that cornfield, and yeah, Steve McQueen was one of the first media images that was associated with this car.
That had to have been one of the first hints that Ford might be doing something quite like this.
Yeah, it could have been. They could have been given a hint or just drawing on the heritage of it. But yeah, I mean, that's really why I think in some cases some people were saying, yeah, man,
right,
boy, if Ford does a Bullitt Mustang, produces something on this body style, man, it's gonna really
and they nailed it.
They nailed it.
In my opinion, they sure did.
They nailed it. From the front end look, right, to just the proportions, and this car is very clean, too, just by the nature of the style.
Yep.
Of course, there's no spoiler in the rear that came on this.
Yep.
Just as the other Bullitt Mustangs, but stylistically, I mean,
low profile.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything it doesn't need.
Correct.
I think is a fair way of putting that.
Correct. Yes. And some people I know, they looked at the 1968, Ford Mustang GT Fastback, of course, from the movie. They loved the twin-vented hood, and I know some people thought stylistically that was an opportunity they could have taken, but sure, there's been cost considerations by Ford anytime they would have done something like this. That was probably part of the cost consideration picture, but it was produced in the aftermarket. There are a couple of companies that made something twin-vented. But otherwise, I can tell you, at least from driving it, when I'm looking over the dash, and it's just a plain Jane hood with the character line going down the middle.
And I love that. It's very subtle.
It's very
You
subtle.
don't notice it from far away, but you get up close to it and it looks really nice.
It's very subtle, and it just sort of resonates with the subtle theme of the car.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
All right, well, saving the best for last, I'm sure. We got your 2001 yet, the not correct color.
Yeah, the incorrect color.
All right, let's go take a look at that one, huh?
All right, let's do that.
Cool. All right, here's your black 2001 Bullitt. What's the story behind this? I'm sensing there's a story here.
This car was a theft recovery car.
Wow, so it was stolen.
It was stolen. The original...
Tony, you stole this car?
I stole this car.
Tony stole this car.
Yeah, I stole it.
I found him.
Sorry guys. Sorry, Mom. But this car was stolen from the original owner and taken on a joyride.
Oh, man.
The people who stole it blew up the engine. They damaged the front and rear fascia, and then they pulled parts off of it and kind of stripped it down. And so
That's a shame.
it is a shame. Even though it's the wrong color, it surely
Yeah. They
didn't.
probably didn't even know what they took.
They probably didn't know. They probably thought, hey, it's just a black Mustang
right.
GT. Hey, where's the spoiler on it?
Yeah.
So this car was then retained by the owner, bought it back after it had been declared a total loss, and started to try to work on it. And then eventually got to the point where he didn't want to work on it further, and he sold it. He sold it to someone who worked on the Ford Mustang Bullitt program of 2001, and then also was involved with the 2003-2004 Mustang Mach 1
Sure. Okay.
program. His name's Scott Hogue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He left Ford around the time that the Mach 1 was released in 2002 and formed his own aftermarket company. Anyway, he saw this car and said, "This is one of my babies."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
took care of it.
And he took care of it.
Okay.
So he bought it, and he had a shell of a car
Yep.
for a few years. And with the shell of the car, and because he was doing his own aftermarket goods and services through his company, he thought, maybe I can rebuild it, and maybe rebuild it into something that it would have been cool to do it at Ford, but we couldn't because of financial and legal and marketing and
all sorts of
all
stuff.
other constraints that they have to work with. So this car was brought back to life and rebuilt up to the condition that it is now. I bought it because of the story behind it, because it was saved.
Oh yeah,
and
stories are really awesome to have with the car.
Yeah, it's neat to have with the car. The muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords.
The magazine?
Magazines actually had there were two issues that had an article
on this car,
on this car's build-up.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
So
do you have those by chance?
I do have those.
You'll have to show me those later.
Yes, I'll definitely show them to you. And they, they were really showing. So in terms of car documentation, I guess I couldn't ask for better.
Oh yeah, no
than
kidding.
that. Knowing it is a rebuilt salvage title, I did see the rebuild process because it was in a magazine.
Yeah, cool.
And it does have the biggest modification that most people would notice was that the engine is supercharged.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
So it is the stock, the stock Bullitt power plant is 265 horsepower.
And how much of a bump was that from the regular GT?
5 on the rating scale. There is a story behind why it looked like it was only 5, but it had to do with the way that the measurements were done. There was a change out in those measurements between model years.
Gotcha.
But that being said, it was improved drivability because the torque curve was flatter. So you would notice that. You see that the pants feel. But this one, because it's supercharged, it's gone from 265 to probably somewhere around 420.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's
you'll feel that.
That'll give an 0809 a good run for its money.
Give it a run for its money.
Quite a bit more power.
Give it a run for its money.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. But again, these cars, if you contrast it with the 2019, this was the first one. This was the 4th generation. This was the Fox body platform reborn.
Revisioned,
right, from 1994 when this generation came out. And there's definitely, they've learned a few things. Ford's learned a few things over the years. But again, the thing about this is because it's cool and it's again toned down from the GT at the time. It kind of fits the Bullitt. Fits the Bullitt theme.
Yeah. So Tony, we got to look at a couple of your cars here and got the stories.
Yep.
Tell us a little more about you. What is your story, your involvement in the community?
In 2002, I joined the online Bullitt Community Forum, IMBOC, that had started for connecting owners of the 2001 models. And I actually had followed that forum and not been a member prior to it because I was looking to get a 2001 Bullitt.
Okay, doing a little recon.
Doing a little recon.
All right.
Stealth mode, didn't register, didn't post, didn't do anything. But at the time I had a 2000 Mustang GT and was listening to some of the early Bullitt owners who were having some noises in their engines which sounded kind of similar to what I was experiencing, and actually that's when I got hooked in. It was not because of the Bullitt enthusiasm, but it was because, hey, there's this problem. You guys
So
got
tech
it too?
support.
Tech support, exactly.
Okay.
And folks right off the bat were pretty thorough and nice and very helpful, even though I didn't have a Bullitt Mustang at the time. But I had mentioned that I was interested in one.
Sure.
But by that time, though, I was on my way to the 2003 Mach 1 Mustang, even though I didn't have the Bullitt at the time.
Sure.
But yeah, that's how I connected with the community, and I found some people locally here who had 2001 Bullets, and met with them offline, and it was really the first introduction into really connecting with people, and here they are in my hometown, and getting to see what they do and how they are living the Bullitt lifestyle. So, but the enthusiasm was evident early on for this car by those initial purchasers. It was cool to see it.
Yeah,
so that's how I got into it.
Okay, and then as far as the movie goes, were you familiar with the movie and what the car actually meant before 2001?
You are going to laugh heartily, because when I had only been buying Mustangs for about 4 or 5 years, so I was newer to the Mustang. I started, my first Mustang was in 1995. And then in 2000, I saw the Bullitt concept model that was at the LA Auto Show. And when I saw it, I thought, that's really neat. It's kind of stripped down. I liked the green. I was, hey, that's a pretty neat green. And then I saw in the articles, about the movie Bullitt. I knew who Steve McQueen was, but honestly, I didn't know anything about the chase. I didn't know anything about the movie. I didn't know about the characters in the movie. I didn't know. I was like a real. You could have taken my Bullitt enthusiast card away at that point, because what is that?
You hadn't earned it yet.
I had not earned it yet, but once I got into reading a little more and studying a little more. Oh, and also, by the way, slight note, I thought, why didn't they put a spoiler on that car? Okay. So at that point, one might say, if they're more in the low-key design theme mode, get out of here, because you don't really, you don't get this at all.
All right, so I know that you've published a couple books, probably 2 by now, or 1?
1, and working on 1.
Okay,
so it's officially 1.
Which is the one that you've already completed?
So I have a book that actually is about the development of the 2001 Bullitt Mustang and the 2003, 2004 Mach 1 Mustang.
And what's the title of that?
And it's called Engineer plus Enthusiast equals Excitement. It's the recounting of the development programs for both of those cars. And it's done by a former Ford engineer who, his name was Scott Hogue. And I got to meet him at some enthusiast events when I had my Mach 1, my new and pristine shiny Mach 1. And he would tell me stories about the Mach 1 and the Bullitt development, and he would show me pictures, behind the scenes pictures, and I said to him, you really should get this down, this is part of history. And selfishly, I'm like, I would love to see this in a book. I want a book. I want to see him write a book. So I talked to him off and on over a number of years, and he agreed to doing the project if I would help with the writing. So,
excellent. So it was kind of like co-authored?
It's a co-authored book. So it's actually, the credits are by Scott Hogue as told to Tony Alonso. So,
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a joint effort. His stories, his words, my
interpretation.
But Well, my writing and massaging.
Okay.
But it's in the first person narrative form. So
Okay.
if you read the book,
So
it's like he's
perspective.
talking to you.
Okay,
In the
sure.
book. So yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
And then, is that book still available for purchase?
It is
And if
available
so,
for
where
purchase.
can you buy it?
So if you go on the wonderful world of Amazon, you can find
Oh,
it
very
there.
nice.
Yeah, and also at the website that Scott's company has. The website address is www.shopmrt.com.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a entry there for the book.
Okay.
And
How much is it?
It's it normally lists for $80 and $100. We have two editions. We
Okay.
have a standard edition and a collector's edition that has some additional stuff, which
Ooh,
makes it
fun.
a little more collectible,
Yeah.
a little Easter egg stuff.
Okay.
But we have had the book on sale for a while, and we've begun to offer discounts on it, so you can
Okay.
find it less than list
Sure.
price.
Okay.
And we've offered those not only through the Scott's company's website, but when we've gone to car shows and talked to people about the book.
That's
and
awesome.
They bought from us. So yeah.
All right. And you said you have another one in the works.
I have
right
another
now,
one
right?
in the works. It's
And what's
called
that one?
Mustang Bullitt Generation. So I'm very fortunate to have a 2001, a 2009, and a 2019 model. And now my selfish inclination for this is I would like to capture all of the history of all three of these. And I would like to also kind of build on and get other perspectives too. There's a lot of people that work on these from Ford's perspective, of course, but I definitely wanted to get some more insights. So I'm talking to tons and tons of people, whereas the first book, there was really only a one-to-one conversation. Now it's a one-to-many conversation.
Okay.
And that book is hopefully going to make it out in the summer of 2020.
Okay.
There's a few things that might change that. We're trying to see if we can find out production information on the 2020 Bullets.
Oh,
and,
sure,
and,
yeah.
and time it with that, and then maybe some of the events that are coming up for Bullitt owners next year. And we'll see how it goes, but that's the target. So yeah,
Okay,
we're
great.
working on it, and I have to tell you, one of the stories, or one of the things I want to get in this book is stories from enthusiasts like yourself. Like, why would some guy go and make a documentary called Let's
2.5
Be
hours,
Frank,
yeah.
2.5 hours? I want to hear his story.
Right.
So I hope you can get me hooked up with him so that I can.
You know, I think I just might be able to
Very
get
good.
you his numbers.
Okay, very good. Yeah, very good. So that's going to be part of that book as well.
All right, excellent. Well, do you have anything else you wanted to share with me, Tony?
All I would say, Alex, is again, welcome to the family. And,
Thank you.
Whatever I think in your journey as a bullet head seeking out the perfect Mustang Bullitt for you, you're probably going to have a bunch of help with that.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm getting offers already.
Yeah, so that's awesome, and I appreciate you doing what you do. You're a heck of a guy, and thanks for everything you've done to
Well, no problem, Tony.
show the world. So,
Thank you so much for
Thank
everything
you.
you do for the community too. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Tony.
All right, thank you.